Hey, welcome along to our first Frostgrave battle report. This is going to be my Thaumaturge versus my opponent's Sigilist, and it's going to be the Mausoleum scenario. So in this battle we have a setup in the centre of the Mausoleum, which gives using that Games Workshop Temple of Moor or whatever it was at the time. There's 4 treasures at each corner and 2 other randomly set up, and we also have a couple of skellies around, and 1 skeleton each turn will be generated from the Mausoleum itself as well. So starting with my forces, I'm going to look at my apprentice here, and he's accompanied above him by a thug, below him an infantryman, so he has a great weapon, and a crossbowman as well. My Thaumaturge apprentice is a conversion from Warlord Games plastic Celt, so my Celt's slowly turning up in my games. And on the left there you can also see a bag that is one of the treasures there. In the centre taking cover is my Warhound. That is a old Games Workshop Witch Hunter Warhound, I believe, from Mordheim. And on my left I have my Wizard, the old Truthsayer model from Games Workshop, and my random Dark Age figures. I've got a crossbowman, another infantryman, and a thug, which unfortunately I forget for most of the battle once he moves up the left hand side of this tower. Onto my opponent's side, and he's got his apprentice, backed up by 2 archers. And down in the centre is his wizard, who's ready to telekinesis probably all the treasure. And he's also backed up by 2 knights, which are the guys that have been undercoated. Behind them, 3 thugs, backing them up, I believe. So the overall setup looks like this when we start. As you can see, there's also 4 skeletons out. Right around the mausoleum, and there's also one in the left-hand buildings, the ruins. You'll turn up later on. So I have the initiative, and my wizard runs on up. Well, hides behind the corner. You can just see his staff here. His men run on up with him, pushing the infantryman forwards and putting armor on him, so he has +2 armor. That's what the white dice is indicating there. And my crossbow moves up and takes out the skeleton there. So my opponent's wizard's phase, he casts telekinesis and pulls the silver treasure away from the corner of the mausoleum. The bead there is also another treasure. If you can see the fatigue markers he's got on them, he's just using them to indicate who is already activated so he remembers. My crossbowman takes up a position and opens fire on the opposing wizard, but manages to dodge this one. My apprentice attempts to cast armor on this infantryman, but unfortunately fails to cast it and suffers a wound in return. Here I'm just showing that the apprentice also used telekinesis to pull this other treasure away towards his wizard. That damage there, yeah, that must have been from my crossbowman, so I did get a shot through. In retaliation, my opponent's archers open fire on my infantryman and suffers 8 hits. I'm just using the skull as an additional dice there. So it counts as 6, so 6 and 2. So I've got 8 hits on him. And then in my remaining moves, I just move my dog up, ready to pin down any skellies that come round. Because I'm sure a dog is pretty good against skeletons, being bones and all. And my opponent moves up his thugs, who take on the treasures they had already pulled forwards. And as you can see, in the creature phase, a skeleton popped out at his end, because obviously they must be now aware that he's stealing the treasures. It is a random roll in which there's supposed to be a doorway on each of these walls, and they'll randomly roll to see which one they come through. Next round, I managed to get the initiative again, and my wizard goes first. Unfortunately, he didn't have any guys near him, so he just moves up. But it does manage to get a mind control on the furthest thug there that has the silver treasure. You can see a little marker there, just to remind us that he has mind control on him. Well, my apprentice phase, I managed to get off heal on my infantryman, so he's got only 3. He's only taken 3 wounds now, and everyone else is looking okay. Also on the top left there, you can just see my thugs jumped over to pick up the treasures there. I don't know what's going on with the picture here, but something's not quite gone right here. But anyway, on the left there, you can see in the creature phase, the skeleton engaged my dog, and during this phase, I think in the apprentice and my opponent's wizard phase, he both tried to cast a spell to try and remove my mind control on his warrior, but failed. And I believe this was a long shot against my crossbowman that you can see there from that top archer. So my remaining moves, yep, I use my crossbowman and hit the guy leading with the treasure. And I move up with the rest of them. And of course, being remaining moves, I use the chap who I mind controlled to charge the wizard, because while the wizard's in combat, he can't cast any spells. And at the moment, he seems to be on a fair few wounds. He's got 11 wounds, and I think, from memory, they start with 14. At the moment, I'm using probably a level 4, and I think my opponent's on like a level 7 wizard. So there might be a chance of a few more wounds on it, but he hasn't got that many left. My infantryman marches up to help the dog out, but no help is needed as he quickly dispatches the skelly. Unfortunately for my opponent, he's now being engaged with 2 skeletons and is struggling to fend them both off. Thug plays his role well and manages to take out the wizard. So that's him with down a phase and of course one lot of spells. And this is just, I believe the remaining moves, or the this could be the creature phase of the turn. Yes, because there's a new skelly turned up. Funnily enough, again turned up at this end of the mausoleum. So he's got one opponent engaged with 2, and he's trying to fend them off. And he's got another knight down the bottom here, engaging one skelly as well. And just here on the far side, my apprentice is still there. My infantryman is just pushing up, keeping the boxes for cover so he doesn't get shot out. And my thug that was there is now running off with whatever he was running off with. And I believe my wizard here got clobbered by a bowman who's still up on the top there. For instance, the phases get a bit muddled up here because I was running low on time. As you see, my opponent's wizard has moved up, and the guy that was taken on the 2 skellies eventually fell to the 2 skellies. My chap with the mind control is trying to beat off the his opponent, well, his own friend there with the treasure. Unfortunately, he gets beaten back, which means next turn my opponent will be able to run off with that treasure. And with their opponent dead, the skeletons move on and try and take on the remaining bowman. Also, you see the other bowman coming down the hill there to help support. The wizard's just behind, the apprentice is just behind the room there, and another thug is trying to run for some treasure. So this is how we're looking at the moment. As you see, the dog has run up the other end there to take on the man-at-arms. Oh, no, there could be man-at-arms, not knights, sorry. He's gone to take them on just to pin him in place. Down the bottom, as soon as I pick up a treasure, that's when a skelly turns up down this end. I should really notice that. I've got a crossbowman that might be able to take him out, and I've got a crossbowman down the bottom as well that can all fight the skelly. So other than that, things are looking okay. It seems to be the wildlife is taking on my opponent, as well as a couple of mind control guys just to annoy him. This time in the wizard's phase, which I get, my opponent doesn't get because he's lost his wizard. I teleport my wizard up here just to support the guy carrying the treasure. While you're carrying treasure, you're at -1 fight and half movement, so he's a bit of a soft target, so I thought I'd move my wizard up here. I do believe I didn't actually cast a spell. I had a potion of teleportation from a previous one, so I just used that and spun up there. And my crossman down the bottom also moved up and then took a long range shot at his wizard. And if you look by the building right at the top centre there, you see just a little red skull. That's where his apprentice was. So he's now down a wizard and an apprentice. So my opponent, I think it's near enough the end of the round. I've moved my crossbowman up to try and get him into the fight again. I've moved my other infantryman that was behind the barrels on the right up. You can just see the foot of my apprentice on the right hand side there, coming into view as he moves in. Another skelly's turned up, this time on the left hand side. My dog gets injured in the combat against the man-at-arms. His bowman managed to take out a skeleton, which is quite impressive. And I do believe he ends up shooting the guy that I mind controlled, and the other guy that he had with the treasure has run off, both the top side and on the left hand side there. So with a bit of a team effort, my wizard has previously healed himself, and with the support of the infantryman, managed to take out the skelly. And now we're looking something like this. So again, my apprentice is moving up to the centre. My thug's finally moved up to join in the fight. And at the top there, his archers managed to kill off the last skeleton, and then starts moving across to grab some treasures and help in the fight against Man-at-Arms and the Warhound. I don't think there's anything else to mention there. My opponent is quite tricksy here. He had managed to pick up the item while in base contact with his friendly chap there. I then mind controlled the archer, and then in the combat he just struck him with his man-at-arms and killed off his archer to stop me getting the treasure and getting out of there. Because I think I cast the spell high enough that I knew his will roll wouldn't be enough to, unless it was like rolled like a 20 or 19, he wouldn't be able to stop it. Down in the centre, my thug makes short work of the skeletons, and the infantryman gets rid of the other one. I have my other infantryman who's been injured. I believe he was injured by an archer earlier. He's now going to start legging it to get off the board edge. My wizard is now trying to look at someone, see how I can get with a good of mind control. Same for my other wizard. I might try some blinding light or something. And I've also got my 2 crossbowmen now reloaded and in a position where I can just pour some fire on anywhere that's open. And my apprentice does his job and mind controls his bowman, so he's now mined. So that just leaves him now with his man-at-arms against my infantryman and wolf, and his other infantryman is mine as well. And the infantryman dog combo does their job just in time. As you can see, another skeleton comes out in the mausoleum at the top end. And with that, and his only other bowman, which he's removed now from the table, being under my control, we called it there, and my men scarf had taken as much treasure as they can with them. I did quite well. I think I got 4 out of the 6. My opponent only got 2. And casualty-wise, I don't think I lost anyone. So I did quite well for this fight. This game can seem to go in extremes sometimes. You'll do well one time, but if you just do slightly wrong, it all goes to hell the next time. So yeah, I really enjoyed this game, and I hope you enjoyed seeing it. For this one, I'm not going to go over the wounds and stuff that I might do normally in a campaign, simply because I want to do that with my enchanter guys, which I'm painting up, which are all the North Star, tasty North Star figures. You've probably seen that if you've seen my other video on getting started with Frostgrave, you'll see it in there. I mean, the game itself, you can use whatever miniatures you like, but since I enjoy the game so much, there's nothing wrong with making sure I at least support it by buying some products from North Star anyway. Right guys, so until next time, thou wellest. Hey guys, so it's giveaway time, and what have I got to give away and how you can win it? Right, first of all, this will be given away on the 40th Saga Battle Report. I've changed how I'm originally going to do it, and that's what I'm going for now. I'll type in the comment section hail, and the first, say, 20 people to reply, Ragnar, will be put into a draw. I'll roll a d20 and someone will randomly win. And what I've got to offer here is from Griffin Beast, many thanks to them. We have the Saga rulebook along with the 4 battle boards included, which is the Welsh, Norman, Viking and Anglo-Danish, and also 2 lots of dice. We have the Crusader dice there, and the Viking dice as well. And on top of that, I've also chucked in 4 Berserkers that I've painted up as well. So hope that's of use to you, and I hope you're up for that. So I'll see you on the 40th episode. As always guys, thanks for watching, thanks for the support, and I'll see you next time. Thou wellest.